Hi, welcome to the Messianic Millennial. My name is Rita. I am a Messianic Jew, so I am Jewish by blood, but I have accepted Yeshua, that's Jesus, as Messiah, hence Messianic. And I am a mom, and I was born in 93, so that makes me a millennial, although I don't think that I tend to think like a millennial. So I just wanted to jump on, record a quick intro, because I did make a video about 9 weeks ago now about my initial thoughts as a new mom in my first 5 weeks of motherhood, and I think it feels a little bit abrupt to just jump into it without an introduction, so I just wanted to come and say welcome. I hope you get something interesting out of what I have to say. I hope we can have a conversation about it, and I hope to post the next video in not as long a time away. There's no editing. I'm not really good at that yet, so please forgive me for not getting things set up properly. It will get better, so just stick with it and enjoy. What have I learned so far in my first 5 weeks of being a brand new first-time mom? Well, something I didn't know before is that onesies are terrible. I don't know if this is a hot take, if this is controversial, but I really don't like onesies. I tried to dress her in onesies more than once. The little ones, I guess preemie ones, when she was first born, she was really small. Their shoulders are too tight, too tiny. You just can't get it over. You can't get it over their head. You can't get it up over their feet. So those onesies just seem completely useless. And then we tried a bigger size, and yes, she fits, but I don't know. They just don't seem practical. Whereas the zippered footed outfits are so much better. They're so much more convenient because it just opens the whole way. You can put their arms in, you put their legs in, and now they have them with a two-way zipper. So if you're just doing a quick diaper change, you don't have to take off the whole outfit. You just zip it upwards from the bottom, and then you have access to their diaper. So it's great, unless you do that and then halfway through the diaper change you realize you actually need to take off the whole outfit, because then you have to zip the whole thing down and then zip the other one down. But at that point it's probably messy, because I don't know about other kids, but my baby really likes to pee in the middle of a diaper change and get it all over her outfit, the blanket, the change table. So sometimes those aren't so great, but overall way better than onesies. And we're also obsessed with onesies. Everybody gives them as gifts, and I know they look cute, but so do those other ones. And they're just, they don't make socks for babies. I don't think they make them, they exist, but all of the socks I've seen are kind of like short, round, kind of chubby, like wide foot. I don't know if my kid is weird, but she's got skinny, long feet, so those socks just don't fit properly. They don't go up the leg. They don't hug anything. They just fall right off. So the footed outfits, again, more practical, because you can actually put their feet into something so they can stay warm if you're really worried about that, or you keep your house warm and then you're not so worried about it. So yeah, I have learned that I really don't like onesies, and I always thought that I would, because I always thought they were so cute. And I'm guilty myself of giving them as gifts to people. So very sorry to all of the moms to whom I have given onesies in the past. Maybe I'll learn to like them when she gets a little bit older, a little bit bigger, and they'll be more practical. Who knows? The one thing that I will say, though, that is super practical, receiving blankets. Also, is there a difference between a receiving blanket and a burp cloth? I was reading online on a new mom forum, somebody was complaining about having too many receiving blankets. And I don't think that there is any such thing as too many receiving blankets, because if it's cold, you grab an extra blanket to wrap around her. If it's too hot, you take one of the blankets away. If she's got some spit up, burp cloth or receiving blanket, boom. If you're leaking from breastfeeding, receiving blanket, it's perfect. They're so much more convenient to, wrap and throw in the wash, and you don't have to worry about getting all of the limbs all over the place, or, you just wrap however it happens. And it's really great for if you have to put them down on a surface somewhere and you're not sure how clean it is, or you're not sure what material it is. You get the 100% cotton receiving blanket, and you know that your baby's skin is touching exactly what you want it to touch. So I definitely am a big fan of receiving blankets, and I think everyone should have lots of receiving blankets. I found, especially before I got a good nursing bra, I was leaking a lot when I would do nighttime feeding, so I would be sleeping on the receiving blanket as well, just to try and protect the mattress a little bit. So receiving blankets are good, onesies not so good, baby socks also seem very useless. So these are some of the things that I'm learning. One of my favorite things, I think, about being a new mom is the new mom outfit. You get to get away with messy bun, bags under your eyes, spit up on your shirt, and you just own it. And it works, and it's comfortable and convenient, and you don't have to put on your makeup and be all put together. And, you're like, oh, I'm a new mom. I'm on a newborn time schedule. It's great. At least I think so. I would also say it's good to invest in button-up shirts. I have found those to be very convenient, again, for the whole breastfeeding thing. I made sure to have a couple of button-up shirts available, and they're really comfortable, and it works really well. So there's, some outfits for baby, outfits for mom, different things that you learn that I feel like people don't really talk about, or maybe they do, and I just didn't find those resources ahead of time. So hopefully this will be helpful for the future for someone. I guess what everybody talks about with first-time moms is the lack of sleep. And it's really interesting because, especially early on, I definitely wasn't sleeping, but I didn't feel tired. I just didn't feel it. So that was kind of interesting. And to this day, we still haven't quite established a good routine, a good schedule. She's only 5 weeks old, so I guess we're still in the very early stages of trying to figure out that rhythm. We're getting longer stretches now, and we're trying to keep a bit more of a schedule during the day if we can. But it's tough, you have some stretches of sleep, but it's very broken sleep. Like last night, I think I had about 5.5 hours of sleep, but it wasn't one 5.5 hour stretch. But this morning I woke up and I, when she was kind of more awake and not in her nighttime schedule, we were up and awake, and I felt really productive. And that's the first time I've felt productive in a long time. So it's definitely takes some adjustment, some getting used to. It's a season of lack of sleep for sure, and lack of memory. I am finding it very difficult to remember all of the things that I have to do, and I'm very easily distracted. Like I'll be doing one task, and then I'll see something and I'll get completely thrown off because I start doing that thing and I've immediately forgotten whatever it is that I was actually supposed to do. So reminders, a lot of grace, a lot of patience, write things down. The lack of sleep definitely will affect basically everything. I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but I think with my lack of sleep, sometimes I forget that eating is a thing that is important to do. My body's like, oh, I guess we're not really that hungry. We're just too tired to think about these things. And then eventually it'll hit me. I don't know if that's tied to like lack of memory, like, oh, right, I remember I'm supposed to eat things. At first, when I could barely move, people would bring me food, so that was a good reminder that I needed to eat. But I think I don't know what the average recovery time is, but it was really nice to feel like I could get up and do things for myself again. Probably like 2-ish weeks in, a little bit less than that, I think. The other thing that I guess part of me knew this, but experiencing it is very different. Babies are a lot less fragile than we think they are. At first there's a lot of hesitation of like, oh, you can't touch them the wrong way, can't hold them the wrong way. We have this impression, especially of newborns, that, be extremely gentle. And yes, obviously you still have to take care of them. They're, not as strong as adults or as older children, but they really aren't as fragile as we think. They're not, paper thin. They're not going to explode when you touch them. Or maybe it's just our kid, but, she's very, very strong, loves to move her own head around. And, my own mom said, like, oh, it's too soon for her to be holding up her head. And I'm like, I'm not, like, my arm is here for her support, but she wants to move. So she's definitely working her muscles in her neck, in her legs. And, she likes to be held tight. She actually really likes when we burp her as well, which is interesting because I didn't think that was something that most kids would like. To be honest, it's not something that I really like. It hurts my hand sometimes just to keep that consistent rhythm, but she loves it. And it was interesting. Many years ago, I don't remember how long ago, but I watched a documentary on Netflix called Babies, and they were talking about how capable babies are of doing things. It's just that their heads are so big and so heavy. I highly recommend watching this documentary because there's a lot that I don't remember about it. But I remember thinking like, oh, okay, like babies are way more capable of stuff than we give them credit for. But now, having my own daughter and just realizing that she's not just going to break, like you can hold her, you can roll her, obviously you want to be safe, you want to be gentle because they're still developing. Like, it's interesting. I was listening to something or reading something about the different, mammals and when the baby mammals are born and how it works in the animal kingdom versus people. And as long as, 9 to 10 months feels like a really long time, the 40 weeks that babies are growing inside of their mothers, they're born like too early. Like they're not actually ready to be born, but it's a size issue. So other mammals, when they have their babies, they're born much more developed, much more ready for being out in the world, out in the wild. And I guess they don't have the luxury of thinking like, people are going to do absolutely everything for me for however long it is that we're going to do absolutely everything for them. Right now, like she's completely dependent on myself, on my husband, and thankfully we do have some help as well. The grandparents come around, the aunts and uncles come around, and everybody wants to hold the baby, everybody wants to comfort the baby, everyone is happy to burp the baby, or lull her to sleep, or whatever it might be. Everyone wants to dress the baby, everybody wants to take pictures of the baby. I guess that's not really for survival, that's more for us. We like looking at those, oh, look how cute she was, and oh, look, she's changed already. It's been like 3 days and her face has changed, and oh, who does she look like in this photo? That's not really for survival, but I just mean, human babies get a ton of attention, and so they're lucky in that they don't have to do anything for themselves, whereas in the animal kingdom, I guess they do have to do more for themselves. But all that to say that other mammals are born much more obviously capable of doing things, whereas human babies have all of those natural instincts, and in theory, their bodies have those abilities. It's just that their heads are so big and heavy, and those muscles aren't developed yet, and so they have no control. So that's why they seem so incredibly helpless. But I guess I didn't realize, even from that documentary, which, to bring this back to what I was saying, yes, they're capable, but they're also durable, which is kind of a funny word to use for a child, but I think it fits. It's not that, you're going to poke them and it'll bruise them or break their bones or anything like that. So you have to support them, especially that head. But you can definitely, play with them a little bit too. And it's probably good for them to work out a little bit. Speaking of working them out a little bit, it's been really interesting. Again, I don't know if this is all newborns or just our newborn, but we have a lot of different tactics of comforting her and consoling her if she's upset. So at first it was very much like, I'm hungry, feed me, change my diapers, I'm uncomfortable, or please move around. Like she really, really liked movement. So we would have to go up and down the stairs for a long time. But now there's more of a comfort seeking, I think. And so she really likes, she definitely needs help with burping. So she definitely likes to be held, and she prefers bouncing over rocking. So, we can hold her and kind of gently bounce her up and down versus holding her in your arms and just kind of cradling back and forth or swaying back and forth. She doesn't like that as much. But the interesting thing with her is that these different tactics that we've learned, 1 minute it works, the next minute it doesn't work. And so you have to be sort of quick to change tactics. You have to try the same thing over and over again. In the morning, tummy time is going to be torture and it's going to make her cry even harder. That's not what she was looking for. But in the afternoon, she loves tummy time. She'll be there for as long as you'll let her be on her tummy. So you have to just kind of be creative, but creative within your repertoire, and just keep trying the same thing, and you'll get different results. And I guess, newborns are pretty inconsistent. They're not really good with schedule and routine. They don't really know what it is that they like, what it is that they don't like yet. They just know that they want something. So they're getting your attention, and now it's on you, humans around me, peasants, figure it out. What do I want? How do you make it better? So that's been really interesting as well. I think too, what's been really cool is like, you do question kind of every single little thing. You're like, oh, is that spot, something I should be concerned about, or is it totally normal? Or if my child has this type of behavior, is that normal, or should I be worried about it? But at the same time, you've got these parental instincts, and so there is something about trusting those instincts as well. Like, is it time just to hold her, or can I leave her alone, or what is it that she needs in this moment? And you're still working on reading those cues, but you also have some parental instincts of just, I feel like this is the right thing to do right now, or I think that's perfectly normal, and it seems to be working for the most part. And the nice thing about not doing this alone is that you do have, like, I've got maternal instincts, but my husband has paternal instincts. And so we can work together to figure out what it is that she needs in the moment. And especially when you are sleep deprived, it's good to have a second person around. So we're trying to work that out the best way that we can. So that's been really nice. You also, of course, get a ton of advice from people, and everybody has a different perspective on things. And somebody's going to say it's too cold, and somebody's going to say it's too hot. And you just have to trust that, this is my child, and I am equipped to parent my child, and this is my instinct on the matter. And you kind of go with that as best as you can. So it's not perfect, but it's been a fun journey so far of just discovery and learning, and pushing through limits that you may have set for yourself. At least in my case, going multiple days with not enough sleep, but still being able to push through, still being able to function. Just knowing that you're a lot more capable than you think. And so are they. They're a lot more capable than we might think. So that's been a lot of fun as well. So those are some of my sort of initial thoughts as a brand new first-time mom. There's a group on Facebook that I'm a part of, which is like first-time moms or first pregnancy in your 30s or something like that. And I don't know if the age necessarily changes things, but it's been really nice just knowing, like, she's actually mine. At the end of the day, like, I've interacted with friends and family that have had newborns and young children, and you always give them back, and it always, you defer to the parents, and it's different interacting with someone else's kids versus your own. So that's been really nice to just kind of discover our rhythm and what it is that we're doing together. And one of my favorite things about my daughter especially is that she really likes the sound of my voice. So sometimes when she's crying and I know that she's hungry, but I'm not in a position to be able to feed her, for example, I can actually just talk to her, and usually that'll help her calm down. Or sometimes when she's overtired and she needs to sleep, but she's restless and fussing, again, I can almost like negotiate with her. So it's been really cute. Sometimes she'll start crying, and I just look at her and I'm like, there's no reason to cry. You just need to stop crying. It's not on the schedule. We don't have time for that right now. And she kind of stops and looks at me and listens, and maybe she'll try crying a little bit here and there again, but usually I can just kind of talk to her and soothe her, and that's been really cool. And I don't know if I would be able to do that with anybody else's baby, although maybe I could. I have been told that my voice is soothing in the past, so maybe it would work on all kids. I don't know. So those are just some of the initial thoughts I've had as a mom, and I'm really looking forward to, I guess, the future of seeing how she grows and how she changes. And it's still amazing to me, like 5 weeks later, that this is actually like, we created this child, and I gave birth to her, and she's real, and she's mine, and it's just been wonderful. It's been a really amazing journey, and I'm really excited. I'm really happy.